No doubt you've gone onto Google and you've Googled witchcraft and you've probably come about all of these different types of witches that are out there, and you're probably wondering, if you're new, well, which am I? Am I green witch? Am I hedge witch? Am I Wiccan witch? What the hell am I? And maybe you're also wondering what type of witch I might label myself as. So that's what this video is going to be about today. Hi, I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com, and if you're new to the channel and you want to practice witchcraft or Wicca, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss anything. In this video, I'm talking about labeling and what type of witch you might be. Every year there seems to be a whole batch of new different types of witches that I've never realized even existed myself. And I sometimes scratch my head thinking, why are people getting so obsessed with labeling their variety of witchcraft? Because it's a very modern phenomenon, you know, all of this labeling business. So I thought I would do a video about it and about my experiences with the whole labeling thing and the pros and the cons of labeling. Firstly, the only label you're really going to get from me is that I would say I'm an eclectic Wiccan, because I work within a Wiccan form. I was initiated through a Wiccan form, and that's what I practice. I'm not Gardnerian, I'm not Alexandrian, I'm not practicing a particular tradition of witchcraft. I'm eclectic, so I take things from various different places over the years. So a lot of what I do does come from my coven experience, but also from the other experiences that I've had over the 30 years of practicing, from other places of magic, other magical traditions, and also other mystical traditions that have worked for me. The course that I run, Mystery Witch School 101, is Eclectic Wiccan. So it's not traditional Gardnerian or Alexandrian, but it is within definitely a Wiccan form, but it's eclectic. I put in there what's worked for me, what's helped me within that Wiccan form. And having, belonging to a pigeonhole is helpful when it comes to having a form to practice in, because a form is the container for the practice. And it's very hard to practice a spiritual tradition when you don't have a form to contain the practice within. So within, like, say, if you're a kitchen witch, you are going to have a particular way of working with the herbs, with food, with all of those aspects of kitchen witchery. And so that gives you a form that you can relate to and a form that you can do your work through. The same if you're a hedge witch, if you're a lunar witch, if you're Wiccan, if you're a traditional Wiccan, if you're eclectic Wiccan, if you're a traditional witch. All these different things can help with that form so that you have a nice solid thing to practice within. So that's the positive aspect of having a pigeonhole. The negative side of having a pigeonhole is that when you're first starting out, you may not know what type of pigeonhole you belong to, and you don't need to know what type of pigeonhole you belong to, because there's so much out there now that you don't necessarily want to be limiting yourself straight away to something. Because if you get too rigid to your form, you limit your possibilities for expansion outside of the form and bringing in really good things that might be outside of that form into your practice. Also, having a rigid stance on the form that you're practicing in can create an us and them mentality. And I see this going on in Facebook groups between Wiccans and witches. There's often a real row going on between people who follow a more Wiccan path and those who follow a more witchcraft path. And for the life of me, I don't understand the conflict. I mean, seriously, we're all practicing witchcraft. We're all witches. We're all getting down there, hopefully, and doing stuff. We're all connecting to the land. We're all connecting, hopefully, to ourselves. We're empowering ourselves with magic and our own self-knowledge. And we are creating the lives that we want to create. And even though the ideologies may be different, the bickering thing, it just annoys me, because I think we pagans need to stick together. We're a minority group, and if we're bickering within ourselves, then we don't have that solidarity that can actually help us become more accepted in the greater mainstream community. And we really need to be solid with this so that we are accepted as a serious spiritual practice. And our differences in ideology aren't important, really. They're differences in ideology. And that is something that we should understand from our experiences of persecution from other religions, from their ideologies, that doing that to each other is just no different to the other religions doing it to us. So labeling oneself is good because you've got a form to practice within, and you can also connect with other people who share that with you. But the downside of that is that it creates separation, and separation between people creates difference, and difference creates all of those nasty things like wars, racism, ethnocentrism, all of these things that come out of the fear of other or the fear of difference. So be aware of that, and also the limitations of having to label oneself. All of these variety of labels of witches and Wiccans are new phenomena. They're new things that we're doing in the modern era. They're not traditional names of things. Witches were witches, and they maybe differed from culture to culture and maybe from locality to locality. But I'm sure they weren't getting caught up with thinking, am I a green witch, am I a hedge witch, am I a lunar witch? I think they were just getting on with practicing witchcraft because they needed to practice it in order to be able to get on with their lives. If you're feeling that not knowing what type of box you fit into is stopping you from actually getting there and practicing, don't worry about the box. Just get in there and practice, and be eclectic for a while. Just enjoy the fact you can be eclectic. You're allowed to be eclectic. You're allowed to not have to be in a pigeonhole. If you find a pigeonhole that you fit really nicely in and you're comfortable in it and you don't get too attached to it, then that's great. Just be aware that you don't want it limiting you, and you certainly don't want it creating separation from other people who are also practicing the craft at the same time. So that's my little rant, and also my rant about the fact that I'm just an eclectic Wiccan, and I don't really care other than that as to what type of witch I am outside of that. That's it, and that's probably how it's always going to be. I think as you get older, you don't care as much. Maybe when I was younger, I probably cared a little bit more, but definitely where I'm at now, it's like, it's all the same to me. There's different ideologies and different ways of practicing, different forms, great. The more the merrier. It's great to have variety, but at the end of the day, we're all witches. And if you're wanting to practice eclectic Wicca and you're looking for a teacher and a group of people to practice with, do check out the Mystery Witch School 101. I'd love to hear your comments about this, actually, in the comments field, about which type of witch you are. If you have found a form to practice in, or if it's been something that's been stopping you from practicing and you've been scratching your head, do let me know in the comments field. And if you like the video, hit the like button. Share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com. I'll see you on the next video.